We get so used to thinking of it as like an era.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that run and gun of like the 80s and 90s changed to like, the high press, high possession games.
What do you think your era is?
I love like Pep Barcelona.
Yeah.
That like
The early 09, 10.
I think from like a total footballing perspective, that was incredible. But I still love like Ronaldinho, Robinho, that kind of like striker. Yeah, I love that freestyle stuff.
Yeah.
Big fan. Yeah, big fan.
Watching Ronaldinho play was insane.
Zidane.
Are we on?
Yeah.
I don't know how much you caught of that, but no, it's alright. It's cool. Well, what's going on? Rondo fam, Ryan is my name, and joined today, Paul
Yes.
from PFC Vintage.
It is.
Fresh off your crossbar challenge victory. I think the biggest selling point for me was being 2-0 in crossbar.
I was nervous. I was actually nervous.
You took it fair and square. And am I disappointed? Yes, very much so. But we were talking before the cameras and all were set up about like how different eras, and I never actually thought about this, different eras defined by certain styles in football.
Yeah.
And even as something like how you take a free kick, I grew up watching David Beckham, Nakamura, Juninho at Lyon. It was all about that kind of finesse curl top corner.
Yeah.
Immediately followed that Ronaldo-esque knuckleball. David Luiz, you mentioned, is another one.
Yeah, correct.
And you were about to tell me actually what you thought what you pick as your era of football as your most loved era.
I think that like 2002 World Cup was iconic.
Yeah.
I think, if from a nostalgic sense, I loved USA 94.
Yeah.
But I go back from from 2002 to like 2006. I think that era of football for me was like, I'm a kid. I was a teenager, so watching players like Zidane, Beckham,
crazy.
Del Piero, Totti, those sort of players were like iconic for me. And so I think that style kind of stood out. But like it's funny from even from a free kick sense, like we're talking about. Nowadays, like the knuckleball is like.
Is it all the rage?
It's it's literally like the X factor. Whereas back then, Roberto Carlos was absolutely blasting a free kick with like a 30-meter run up.
Yeah.
So it's insane how it changed. Obviously, it's still effective.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's like super interesting, like looking at then like what that. Because it's either then the next generation of footballers mimic it, like Rashford against Chelsea. Sorry about that, but that knuckleball where he just hit that, and but the innovation in the game is like interesting from a technique perspective.
Yeah.
And you brought up Pep's team, 08, 09, 10, like as a team that innovated not just a specific kind of like style of kicking a ball, but like just overall like a new kind of football, a new kind of chemistry.
Yeah, and it was almost like we hadn't seen it for a while. Like I know. We spoke about Take the Ball, Pass the Ball today, the Barca documentary. And they say that it's ingrained in their style and it's been in there since Johan Cruyff was coach.
100%.
And I get that, but I felt like we missed that for a while. And I know Barcelona had like a bit of a slump in the early 2000s. I think it was about when Ronaldinho came into the club.
Yeah.
And that's when things started to change under Rijkaard.
And
then after Rijkaard, obviously, I know they won the Champions League, but then after Rijkaard, Guardiola comes in.
Yeah.
And then it was like this total football thing came, and it was like, for me, it was mind-blowing.
Because they did beat Arsenal to the Champions League, which cameraman Christian is a big Arsenal fan. You met him on the plane over to Brizzy. And but just such an interesting dynamic of, that's kind of also when like Messi was starting to come into the fray at Barcelona, but they also had big names like Eto'o, Puyol and stuff. But Pep Guardiola innovated in terms of how you thought about the game. And we mentioned also, and I know we're jumping around everywhere, but that's Sir Alex Ferguson documentary on Amazon. For those that haven't watched it, elite, amazing watch. But there's just a difference between that kind of manager, like the Fergusons and the Wengers of their time, to now like tactical brilliance of like Guardiola, Klopp, Tuchel.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It's almost like they're engineering the types of football that they're playing at each club. Whereas previously, I think you mentioned this actually. It's training a mindset, or putting the players in the right positions. Obviously, that's one thing, in setting up a formation and formula. But I feel like it's systematic, front to back. These coaches work out what they want exactly to a team. Every detail is sort of covered, right? And then altered based on the opposition they're playing, which is crazy. Like to go into that much depth, like obviously that's their 9 to 5, right? Like for us, like it's our doing our job.
Yeah, like this is just fantasy Premier League we talk about.
Correct.
100%.
But it's still to be able to revolutionize football in that way, and like no one. It was almost like I remember a lot of people complaining about how boring it was to watch like Barcelona and Spain at that time.
Just tiki-taka it around.
Because no one touched the ball. Like
insane.
And there was obviously games where they would win, like say 1-0 or not score, and would you get it? Like it's 90% possession for 90 minutes. And it is frustrating when there's no goal, but
But I think it's interesting as well because like, then you're signing specific players and when you arrive at a club almost then like these new era of tactical managers then have to take stock with their squad and really like if the 11 players there that exist don't work, you have to kind of clean house, and you saw Klopp do that when he came in and the shift to now the machine that he's built.
Oh man, it is incredible. Like if you said to anyone that Mo Salah was going to be Mo Salah of today when he was at say Chelsea, Basel, even before then, people would probably laugh at you, especially at Chelsea because he came and didn't do much. I think he was sort of outcasted by Mourinho as well, which is like another thing altogether. But
100%.
And you look at that squad now, and it's like they're world beaters.
And it's like interesting because even at the AFCON recently, Abubakar, the captain of Cameroon, was like, "I don't rate Salah," stuff like that. People don't give him kind of his roses of what he's come to achieve as like an African player, which is insane. The numbers that he's reaching, and also in that sense, like credit due to kind of Klopp. Because he fit the system, molded players into that system.
That's the thing too, and I always wonder about this. Some players are equally as good as others, but is it because of the team that they're in and the position that they're playing? Does it unlock their like full potential?
Yeah,
because
interesting.
A simple formation change could absolutely ruin a player.
Coutinho went to Barca from Liverpool, killing in Liverpool. Struggled at Barcelona, which is. And we spoke about this before, but like wondering, well, what happened? Like, how does a player of that caliber, sold for 130 million or whatever it was, go to Barcelona, and next thing you know, he's at Aston Villa after a loan spell at Bayern, and like the biggest clubs in the world were in for him for a while, and then now
it's like a crazy, I wouldn't say fall from grace, but it's it's insane to have that contrast in where you're at 3 or 4 years earlier to where you're currently at present day. You're probably not that much of a different as a player, but just
systems have become so much more important. Whereas watching that Ferguson documentary, what I found interesting was something that was clear was not, that people weren't saying, oh, he was a tactical genius, but the way he managed was the most powerful thing. Like, he knew how to get things out of players, but also knowing like what will get a response. So there's a bit in the show, Eric Cantona's talking, and he's like, he knew how to get the best out of me. Even Ryan Giggs was like, Sir Alex would yell at everyone except Eric Cantona, because he knew that that's not how he would respond.
And I think that's just good coaching. Like, regardless of if it's grassroots all the way through to pros. I feel like if you understand your players, that is one of the most important things. You might not be the smartest coach, but I think you can still get a lot out of your squad and a lot out of your players, specifically individuals, when you know how to treat them. Especially these days, there's that whole like old-fashioned mentality that back in the 80s and the 90s, the players were hard. They went into tackles. Now everyone's a pretty boy. And all that stuff.
100%.
Which is probably true. There's probably more players that want to be, the dribbling players in the team. They don't want to be the hard men anymore. And I think, if coaches took that on board a little bit, it doesn't need to be high-quality football that they're playing, but you will maximise that out of that player. You'll get as good as possible.
Like engaged players make more of a difference, willing to play for the team. Shout out to my under-16 coach. When I played, he punched a hole in the wall in the changing room. We were 16.
Nice.
So, don't know what kind of coach he was trying to be.
Very serious man.
Very aggressive. Very aggressive.
I think there's some external factors maybe influencing that.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. He locked us in the change rooms, and we just lost or something because we weren't a good team. Everyone wanted to be a striker, so you can probably tell how that went down. And then he just went. I don't know what he said. Just yelled, and then he just bang into the wall, and then he just left.
Was that like a common thing maybe in the early 2000s? I feel like a lot of coaches did that for juniors. Now, and thinking back at it now, I remember a lot of them doing that. I don't understand it's passion and whatever.
Is it passion, or is it like you're trying to like relive the glory days a little bit? Because that's what it feels like sometimes. For like, I can't speak for everyone, but like for him especially, it felt like he was like desperate to like win anything to feel.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of daddy coaches in Australia, right? So he might have been a reasonable player as a young guy. And then he's looking after his son's team. And then maybe he's got that bit of like trying to live in dad's shoes a little bit.
It was a bit intense. But you're a bit of a player yourself. You hit the crossbar.
I did one.
Insane. But you're also founder of PFC Vintage, and we were talking on the plane, and I purposely didn't ask you this question because I wanted to save it for this. So I hope you didn't think I was a dick for not reciprocating.
It's okay.
But you asked me what was my intro into football. And I told you about the story about my dad playing for Singapore and stuff like that. What was your intro into football? Because to do something like PFC Vintage, selling retro kits, like that's an amazing amount of effort to go to.
Look, I think I loved football from when I was young. I was a sporty kid. My mum's family is Italian. My dad's is Australian. My dad's side's very AFL orientated. And my mum's side wasn't that sporty. It was just the fact that I had an uncle really that was into soccer, and through him, I sort of found a lot of enjoyment. We watch a lot of games now together still.
Yeah, amazing.
But I think...
Shout out Uncle, man. That's good.
Yeah, Charlie, thanks, man. So I think from there, it was sort of, I think I was about 10 and I said to my parents that I wanted to start playing. And then from there, it was like, I think it was the next birthday that I had, I got gifted a jersey.
Yeah.
And then through that was like my intro into the kit scene.
Yeah.
And
was that your first kit ever?
Yeah, it was.
What was it?
It wasn't authentic.
Yeah, that's all right. We've all been there, bootleg kids. I mean,
it was definitely a bootleg kit, but it was I think it was replicating like the 2000 Italy squad. Yeah. I think it was very like bootleggy.
Yeah, I love it.
And I was 10, so So and then I think I ended up taking that to like a World of Soccer and getting it Totti and 10 put on the back of that.
Yeah, why not?
And that was like my go-to kit. I actually still have that.
Yeah.
I kept it purely because I loved it from when I was a kid, and then I moved out and I was like, I'm gonna hang on to this. I think this is going somewhere.
Yeah. And it makes for a cool story.
Yeah, exactly right. 100%. So then I think from that kind of transcended into like my mum going to the same markets on the weekends, and there was always one guy with like a bootleg kit rack, and there was like $10. Everything was like XL. So I'd try and like grab all my pocket money or whatever money that I had at the time, the coins I scrounged up. And, and then just started like grabbing kits from there. And
we all know a guy that sells bootleg kits, right? Like we had a family friend, and I don't see him anymore, but he was running that kind of operation, and it was like amazing. Like all these latest kits, like Mexico, I had like Chicharito in the back and stuff. And one day, gone like that, just shut down because I think someone was onto him. So
it doesn't fly now. I think back from those market days, that would have been, I think if I was 10, 2002, right? So I think it was different back then. Obviously, there's still probably lawsuits possible.
Yeah,
but
100%.
This was like an elderly dude just trying to make some cash, I think, on the weekend.
Yeah. Don't do that to the old guy.
But it was good, and that was a big part of my growing up and like getting into the football scene. And then over the years, like they deteriorated. I wore them to training and absolutely ravaged them. So transitioning that into buying kits and actually collecting kits that are obviously authentic and
no bootleg. No bootleg.
No, not now. No. I think I have one score draw kit, but that's about it.
Sometimes I know how some people feel about score draws, so we won't get into that.
No, and it was a gift, so I didn't buy it for myself.
Well, what are some of your favorite kits that you've got in your own collection now? Because I know the store itself has like hundreds and hundreds. Yeah,
so I'm obviously having a half Italian family. I've got a very big Italian and Serie A influence on a lot of my collection. This one in particular, this has got Roberto Baggio on the back. And I'm a big Baggio fan. I think when I first started playing, my uncle was introducing me to Totti and a few other players like that, and I loved Totti instantly because he was active and he was playing. But then he always used to say to me, you've got to watch Baggio videos. But like back then, we didn't have a computer. Like there was no internet, and like
watch those old,
so it was hard to watch. So unless there was a doco on like SBS or something, there was no Baggio videos. I got to like...
Wait, before you continue, shout out SBS though. Do you remember like on Sundays they'd have like the world game, but then it would be like 5 hours of football content from like 12 to 5.
Epic, absolutely epic.
And I just wait at the TV and be like, no one touched the TV.
It was like the only highlights package we had access to.
That's all you'd ever get.
I think it was that, and I know my dad used to buy the newspaper like every day. And it was like all I could check was like the small football column that was in there, and it might have like score results and goal scorer, and that's it.
You know what's even more elite? I used to watch SBS World News, right? And then you wait for the sport at the end because they cover like football. So I watch all the sport, and that's when like I became interested in culture because then I was getting all this news from around the world. But your kids don't.
It's so good. You wait for like the sport highlights in Greek just to see like Olympiakos beat Panathinaikos 3-0.
You just want to see someone score a goal.
100%.
But amazing. Yeah, sorry, continue. I just had to drop.
No. The other kits, I think. Look, I've got a few. I think I've got 4 Baggio kits at the moment. A USA 94, which is like iconic for
100%.
a bad reason, but a couple of Brescia kits actually, which is kind of a bit more obscure.
It's often the obscure ones that I like.
And I think I'm leaning towards a lot of that lately. I think I've got a soft spot for Boca Juniors. A lot of the guys that came to the pop-up at Ultra would have seen that Boca kit that I've got, and that's like a cup match kit. So that was pretty rare and pretty special. Aside from that, I think, look, I've always got a soft spot for Chelsea as well. So I've just picked up a couple of Eden Hazard number 17 shirts from like his first couple of seasons at the club.
Nice.
And that was really cool. I think if I go like my oldest shirt, I think if I had to go something like way back, I've got an 88 Bayern kit. Which I think
that's really going back.
So I think I put that on the website recently actually as well. It's pretty old and it's
is it that red one, like the red? The
Adidas Originals. It's got like a faded sponsor sort of.
I've seen that on your site.
That's short sleeve, but it's like a real slim fit. It's really cool design. It's like a Lothar Matthäus like early days.
That is going back.
That's
iconic.
So that's really cool. That's probably like one of the most rare ones that I have, I think.
Amazing. So how I wrap up these interviews is I'm gonna get you to answer 2 final questions.
Sure.
First one, if PFC Vintage could have a dream collab, what would it be?
Ooh, dream collab. That is a tough one.
Yeah. I asked the hard
How specific do I have to be? Like brand, or is it like?
Yeah, just put it out there in the universe. You know what I'm saying?
I'd love to do like a PFC collab with maybe Andrea Pirlo, anything like Pirlo related, whether it's wine, boots.
Wine.
I don't know, something random.
I'd love to see it.
I'm not a wine person, but I just think it would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's
awesome.
Anything with Andrea Pirlo.
Well, Andrea Pirlo, on the off chance you ever see this ever, shout your guy.
Hit me up. Yeah, that's
and
it.
the final question is, your dream 5-a-side. 1 goalkeeper, 4 players.
Oh, okay. Goalkeeper, no questions. Buffon. I have so much love for him.
That was really quick.
I was thinking about it on the plane for some reason.
Oh, right. Well, there we go. We didn't even talk about this before.
Okay. Wow. This is going to be hard. Okay. Dream 5-a-side all time, right?
All time.
We're not even. We're not even going
any
eras.
player.
Oh man, this is like the best pub chat.
I told you, dude.
We should have beers now. Okay, I'd have to go. See, this is my thing. I'm such like a football head.
Yeah.
I feel like I would field a different 5-a-side than I would to a full size team.
100%.
Right?
So
this is not
when
I
was thinking about like doing these interviews with people like yourself, I'm like, what kind of question that can ask a bit creative? And I was like, 11-a-side, like one might go for a super long segment.
Yeah.
But 5-a-side as well, you're thinking about a different size pitch and there's different skills.
It's different dynamic. Yeah, completely. So, look, I feel like I'm thinking of my FIFA Street days back when I used to play on PS2. That was the best.
Wait, Christian is 20. Did you play FIFA Street? Have you ever played FIFA Street? Don't lie, he's a liar.
He's played the modern one, I think.
Yeah, whatever, man. Like he doesn't know like the 8-bit looking ones with like the thing, you know? Like,
that was the best. I love that game. Look, okay, first one that comes to head for me is Totti.
Yeah.
I think he'd be good in tight areas. I think he's got a good finish. He'll be right.
Yeah.
And he's just chipping for days. You know, that keeper comes off the line, you're finished.
Yeah.
I feel like I need some sort of like holding midfielder. I don't think we need defenders in a 5-a-side. I think you need a holding midfielder.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to roll with like a Makaleli.
Yeah.
I think a Makaleli would be cool. So I feel like if we've got Buffon, Makaleli, Totti, that's a good spine.
Yeah.
I feel like we need some flair.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, testing me now.
Yeah, here we go.
We need some flair, far out.
And you'll be judged on your flair players as well.
It is, and like, okay, I have to go Ronaldinho. There's no questions, right?
Yeah, iconic.
And then I think just for pure matters of taking the piss, Zidane. I feel like that's overly balanced. And I think that they're quite probably too central for a 5-a-side team, but I feel like those guys would take the piss.
That would be amazing to watch, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I think that's like an old school Jogo Bonito ad, like those 5 there.
Yeah, crazy. Like you put Robinho in that team, and then that's basically sorted.
Yeah. You're sorted.
Yeah, wow.
And to end, and thank you for your time. I really enjoyed this.
I love this.
I wish we could like sit down more and do this. It's fucking amazing. Who would you like to see me talk to next? Something that I've been thinking, you know, like other people in the football space that you reckon interesting.
Cahill Express.
Yeah.
I bumped into her the other day at the Ultra Store, and I've heard her podcast on Talking Shirt.
Yeah.
And I think she's really interesting. She's got a good football background.
Yeah.
And I think women in football is awesome. And Australia, look at the Matildas, right? Like they're growing and it's going to be massive.
What they're doing. Well, look, Cahill Express. We've actually spoken on Instagram, so it might not be much of a.
Well, her name's Miriam. I shouldn't call it Cahill
No,
Express.
We're just calling you by Instagram handle because then you get the shout out, the plug. You know what I mean? People know how to find you. Don't like. But Miriam, we'll have to link up now. Cool, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you.